Hey everybody, today we got a really fun project planned. We're doing the $50 wood shop today, and it's a really limited tools project, and it's one of those things that sell really well at like craft shows, farmers markets, you know, that sort of venue. Here it is, take a look. So simple rustic chairs like that are great because, first of all, the material's free. I use pallet for the seats and branches I cut out in the back for the rest of it. It's easy to build, it's quick to build, and they're a fun project. Don't need a lot of woodworking skills for this, and the tools you're going to need, a handsaw, a drill, some sandpaper, and an axe. It's optional, but I like using it to kind of create some profiles, and I'll show you that here in this video coming up. So after I get my little branches and twigs around, what I'll do is I'll kind of go through them and kind of start sorting them out. Now the cool thing about this is you really don't even need a tape measure, and I'll give you measurements for the one I built at the end of the video, but I'm just going to eyeball it for now. So what I want to do is I'm going to take the back, what I want to be the back, and I want to kind of get some pieces that splay out in different, you know, away from the sides just to give it some character. And I'm going to put those apart about as far as I think I'm going to need them, and then I'm going to take a smaller branch like this, and I'm just going to lay that out in between. Find my mark. You can use probably better off using a pencil. But what I'm going to do is kind of go along the profile of this piece here, so it's about at the same angle. I'm not going to get real scientific about it now. And then I'll start my cut. Once I got that, I'll come over here. This is just a piece of 1.5 by 3.5. Screwed to my bench with a little backer board so I can have a nice secure place to hold it down. And then I'll just go ahead and finish that cutout. And that's going to be my first stretcher for the back. Now my second stretcher, I'll put that there, and I'm going to add another stretcher, but I'm going to try to find one with a little bow in it, like this, because that's going to actually be where I put my seat slats. So I'm going to go ahead and put that up about right there. Yeah, about like that, and then I'm just going to mark along that profile again on both sides. Try to get them pretty even, and then again I'll just cut those. All right, now that I have these where I want them, what I want to do is put 2 more stretchers in here, and these are what the slats on the back are going to sit on. But again, I'm looking for a piece that's got a bow to it, so when I put it down in there, it's got that bow and it bows towards the back. That way when I put my stretchers on, it creates this little bow in the back like you would see in a normal chair. So now that I've got my stretchers cut, I'm just going to take these 2 back ones and set them out of the way. And then I'm going to mark on the piece where I need to put I'm going to pre-drill some holes for some screws. Okay, so I've installed a 3/16" bit into my drill, and I'm going to hold this perpendicular to the direction it needs to go so I know that I'm getting my holes in the right place. Find my marks, and I'm going to drill a hole straight through. And now what I'm going to do is take a 3/8 drill bit, and I'm going to drill. This is not a necessary step, but I want to countersink my screw heads a little bit because at the end of it I'm going to plug those holes with a little piece of natural twig to make it look cool. And then I like to take this and give it a little edge, and to do that all I'm going to do is just take my, I have a belt sander just wrapped around a piece of scrap plywood. And I'm just going to knock that edge off on my stretchers. You could use a regular belt sander or anything really, but it doesn't take long, just like that. Alright, now that I've got my stretchers prepped, I'm going to go ahead and get them in the position I want them, and I'm going to screw them in. Now when you're screwing these in, you want to be careful because if you get a hardwood like I'm using here, this is oak, and that screw hits in there, it can twist out. So you want to be real careful not to get your fingers pinched. If you have a way of clamping it, you can always do that. What I'm doing here is I'm going to mark the outside of that chair, mark the height of my stretchers, and mark the outside of the riser over there. And I'll show you why. Next we're going to build the front for it, and I'll just set that out of the way. And what I want to do is I want the front to be just a little bit wider than the back, so it kind of flares out towards the front, and I want it to be a little bit higher as well. I want the stretcher in front to be a little bit higher, so when you put the slats on, it has a slight slope to the back. All right, so these are the pieces I'm going to use for the front legs, and I've left them a little bit long. This is actually the top. I've left them a little bit long because I'm going to go ahead and put my stretcher in there, put the slats on, and then I'll cut these off flush with the top of the slats. I'm just taking a scrap piece of plywood or just anything that you can that's big enough to cover the base, and screwed my front and my back to it. And that kind of helps me lay out what's going to happen from here. I can use some little shims or wedges to kind of tilt the back a little bit. And I'm not too worried about the backs being perfectly flat. This is a real rustic chair, as long as it sits and doesn't wobble, and we'll take care of that at the end of the video. So next I want to put my stretchers on the sides, and I want to put my seat on the top. And then I can put the other back stretchers in, and the back of the seat up on there. Okay, so I've got the seats on, and all I did with that is I used some old pallets some old pallet wood, and I just used my handsaw to cut it to length, and I used my axe to kind of split it up and then sanded it down. And here's what that looks like in fast forward. So one of the cool things about building on the fly like this is you can really interpret and do anything you like with the chair as you see it developing and add things to it. And one of the things I think I've decided I'm going to add is some arms to this one. Before when I started I was just planning on cutting these off and leaving it flush, which works too, but I think it would look cool with some arms. So off camera I'm going to go ahead and put the back on, and I'll come back and show you how I put the arms on, and then we'll do some finishing details and we'll be done. Okay, so now I've got the seat, the back on, I've got the front arm pieces coming up past here, and I want to put some arms on this, make it a little armchair. So what I'm going to do for that is I'm just going to take some more of that natural twig or branches I cut, and I'm going to look for something that's got a bend in it, so I'll attach it here and it'll kind of bow out. That'll kind of give it a nice overall appeal. And then I'm just going to attach it the same way. I'll put it on, run it down with some screws, and screw it in the back here, and then I can plug all those holes and give it a little finish. Well, that's pretty much done, so now what I'm going to do is just go through, and all these countersunk holes I'm going to put a little dowel in. And for the dowel, I've just gone out in the woods and I've gotten a twig, and I'm just going to use that, and that's about around 3/8. If it's not quite, I'll just shave it down a little bit and put it in there. But that also adds a little bit of rustic charm to it. If you leave the dowel proud of the leg, it just adds that little extra bit. And those little extra bits that don't take very much time are really what add to a piece. So, all right, I'm going to go through this real quick. I got to get this done because my wife's going to be here in like a half an hour. So I'm going to put the dowels in, throw a finish on it, and we'll come back and take a look at it. So there you have it, just a real simple chair. The materials are basically free, a few screws, very limited tools, and you've got a cute little chair you can either sell at a craft show, or put a potted plant on, or give to your wife as a gift. So thanks for watching. Lots more fun stuff coming. Here's a few more pictures of the chair on the way out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Next video is a really cool drill-powered jig. Imagine that.